So one of the questions we get asked a lot at the live events I do or online is probate. A lot of people are concerned or not understanding what probate is. So Andrew, can you tell us a little bit more about probate, what it is, how it works, how much does it cost?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's an important question because probate is essentially the process of taking a validly written and executed will through the court process and getting the court to recognize that this is the last will and testament, and then that gives the executor, the person named as the executor in the will, the legal authority to do the actions that they have to do. So that's what probate is. And so every time where there's a requirement for probate, this process has to be followed. And it's a court process. Generally, it's called a desk application, meaning that the lawyer prepares the documents, the named executor fills out all the documents, all the beneficiaries are given notice of the pending court application, and then it's submitted to court and it sits in a queue and it's gone through the court process internally as opposed to open court, okay? As a result of that, then the process generally takes a little bit longer than an open court hearing would, and that time period can last from anywhere from, say, 1 month. I've had it take as long as 3 months, depending on how long the queue is. Okay. And then the other important question is cost. What's the cost of doing this? And the answer is, it depends. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole host of factors which your lawyer should be able to explain to you as to why the fee is going to be whatever the fee is. And I personally think that it's important that people feel free to negotiate that fee with their lawyer and say, gee whiz, that sounds like a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You know, perhaps we can reduce that a little bit or not, you know, depending on the circumstances. In Alberta, the probate fee itself is extremely reasonable, and by reasonable, it's generally not more than $1,000 for the court fees. Okay, so the bigger fees are for the lawyer to prepare the documents and to guide you through the process.
Okay. And how long does it take? You said, like, can someone do it by yourself, or should they hire a lawyer?
It's possible to do it yourself, of course, and there's no rule that says that you can't. The beauty of hiring a lawyer is that the lawyer gets paid out of the assets of the estate, and then the lawyer's liable to make sure that it's all done correctly. So that if, for example, there's an error, you know, which happens on a fairly regular basis, that someone makes an error, then at least you have the lawyer to blame, and the lawyer has to fix whatever that error would be.
And the importance of probating your will, if you want to release assets, whether it is real estate or investments, the banks often wouldn't release that money if the will hasn't been probated, right?
That's exactly it. And so the question becomes, when is probate required or not required? And again, the answer is it depends. But generally, in Alberta, probate is required when the person who passed away is the owner of land, and they're the only owner of the land. Then there's nobody that can sign the transfer documents, and that's why probate's required. And also when there's investments in a financial institution, and the financial institution has an obligation to ensure that it releases the funds to the correct person. And the only way that the financial institution, namely the bank, can ensure that that happens is to be given the grant of probate. So when the financial asset is significant, generally in excess of $30,000, the banks will require a copy of the grant of probate before they'll release the funds.